Well, greetings and salutations. That's just a fancy way of saying hi. This is lesson 21, and we're going to be we're continuing on in that theme of multiplication and division, and we're going to look today at word problems about equal groups. Word problems about equal groups. Now, word problems about equal groups are usually going to be multiplication problems that we may have to solve with division. So it's kind of, again, those inverse operations will work together, especially as we look at word problems about equal groups. Now let's just get down the basic format of an equal groups pattern. It would be the number of groups times the number in each group. Number of groups times the number in each group gives you a total. Now, sometimes they will do it very easily. We have 6 third grade classes. There are 20 students in each class. 6 times 20 equals how many students are there in third grade altogether? 120. So sometimes it's going to be very simple, where you'll clearly be able to see the number of groups and the number in each group to get a total, in which case you're just going to multiply. But other times you have to play around with it a little bit. You have to make sure you're checking palm trees and penguins when you get done to make sure you've not divided when you should have multiplied, or multiplied when you should have divided. So we're going to take a look at a couple of examples. But again, it really comes down to this math thing sometimes. It's just thinking it out clearly, slowing down, and taking time to make sure it makes sense. Okay, let's take a look at this one, and again, realizing that it is a lot of just playing around with the numbers. As a reminder, we need the number of groups, the number in each group, and our total. So if we look at this one, we say the coach separated 48 players into 6 teams with the same number on each team. How many players were on each team? Well, we know our total number of players because it says he separated 48 players. 48 players. And he divided them into 6 teams. Well, the teams would be the number of groups. So 6 times what is 48? Well, I know right away, most of you can say, oh, 6 times 8 is 48. Great. But I don't care if you know the answer. I care, do we know what to do to get it? Now, when we are doing a problem with addition and subtraction, we found that sometimes we have to do the inverse to find it. Well, this is going to be the exact example of needing to do the inverse, which is division, to find it. Now, I can flip these 2 because in multiplication, order doesn't matter. So technically, I could say the number in each group times 6 groups equals 48. Now, you don't have to actually draw that step for me, but it just shows you how I can move them around because of the commutative property of multiplication. But now I've laid it out for a wonderful division problem of inverse operations would tell me I could go 48 divided by 6. Well, 6 times what gives me 48? 6 times 8 is 48. So therefore, that inverse operation let me do it as a division problem. So I know that there are 8 on each team. And that means that we're done. We check for palm trees or penguins. Well, having 8 on each team would make sense because there's 6 teams. 6 times 8 is 48. So yeah, we've got a palm tree. We're good to go. Now, if you would have done something like multiplied 6 times 48, you would have ended up with like 200 and something and gone, ooh, can there be 200 on each team if I only have, back up here, 48 players? Now there can't be 200 on each team, so I would have been a penguin there. But do you see how you really just have to know this part right here and then figure out where your pieces go? It's actually very easy when you can just think to what blanks are you filling in. Now, I'm leaving you with just those as examples for today. We will look at a couple more tomorrow, but realize sometimes it's just playing with the numbers and checking for palm trees or penguins. So hopefully that makes sense to you, and we will pick up a little bit more with this tomorrow. I hope you have a delightful evening.